Howdy, listeners. This is your host, Random Nerd, on the Political Thinking Nerd podcast. This episode will be a little longer as I want to dig deeper in the U.S. Constitution a little more. I want to take a step back for a moment to really dig into the U.S. Constitution before we continue on. This episode digs into the principles, more specifically the idea of what the Founding Fathers envisioned for what the U.S. Constitution was written for, what they envisioned for the United States of America as a nation, not just their present, but their foresight of the future as the U.S. grew and expanded. Before I share the idea, I want to once again repeat the opening letters of the Declaration of Independence in the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. Declaration of Independence, 1776. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Preamble to the Constitution, 1787. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Further, the founding quote-unquote idea of the United States is based on core principles of liberty, equality, and self-governance, as articulated primarily in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. The idea. The core quote-unquote idea of the founding principles. At its heart, the founders' vision was to create a government that protects people's natural rights while preventing it from becoming a tool of oppression. They had seen the dangers of unchecked power under British rule and wanted a system that empowered individuals, not rulers. The Constitution, ratified in 1788, was their solution, a framework to balance freedom, order, and fairness. Think of it as a set of rules for a game where everyone gets a fair shot, but no one can dominate the board. The principles below capture this quote-unquote idea and explain how they work together to shape the United States. Key principles of the U.S. Constitution and founding philosophy. 1. Limited government. A government with boundaries. Idea. The government should only do what's absolutely necessary to protect people's rights and maintain order. It's like hiring a security guard for your neighborhood. You want them to keep things safe, not control your daily life. Constitutional basis. The Constitution lists specific powers for the federal government. Article 1, Section 8. Like regulating trade or declaring war. Anything not listed belongs to the states or individuals. 10th Amendment. This keeps the federal government from growing too big. Founders' intent. Figures like James Madison and Thomas Jefferson feared government that could become a tyrant like King George III. They designed a system where power is tightly controlled with checks and balances, Congress, president, courts, to prevent any one part from taking over. Relatable analogy. Imagine your parents giving you rules for your allowance. You can spend it on certain things, but they don't control every purchase. Limited government ensures the federal quote-unquote parent doesn't micromanage states or citizens. 2. Individual liberty. Freedom as the foundation. Idea. People are born with natural rights, life, liberty, property, that the government exists to protect, not restrict. You should be free to speak, worship, or pursue your goals without interference, as long as you don't harm others. Constitutional basis. The Bill of Rights, 1st through 10th Amendments, guarantees freedoms like speech, religion, press, and bearing arms. The 5th Amendment protects property and due process, ensuring the government can't take your stuff or punish you unfairly. Founders' intent. Influenced by John Locke, the founders believed these rights come from nature, not government. Jefferson's Declaration of Independence calls them unalienable, meaning no one can take them away. The Constitution ensures the government serves the people, not the other way around. Relatable analogy. Think of liberty as your personal space. You can decorate your room, listen to your music, or share your opinions online without someone barging in to stop you. The Constitution is your lock, keeping the government out unless you break the rules. 3. Federalism. Sharing power for flexibility. Idea. Power should be split between the national government and states, like a team where everyone has a role. The federal government handles big issues, while states manage local matters, ensuring solutions fit different communities. Constitutional basis. The Constitution gives the federal government specific powers. For example, Commerce Clause, Article 1, Section 8, while the 10th Amendment serves others to states, while the 10th Amendment reserves others to states. This balance prevents a one-size-fits-all approach. Founders' intent. Federalists like Alexander Hamilton wanted a strong national government for unity, but anti-federalists like Patrick Henry prioritized state independence. The Constitution compromised, creating a system where both levels cooperate but stay distinct. Relatable analogy. It's like a family restaurant chain. Each location, state, customizes its menu to local tastes, but the brand, federal government, sets basic standards. Federalism lets states experiment, while the nation stays cohesive. 4. Rule of law. No one is above the game. Idea. Everyone, citizens, presidents, lawmakers, follow the same rules. The Constitution is the ultimate playbook, and no one can cheat without consequences. Constitutional basis. Article 6 establishes the Constitution as, quote, the supreme law of the land, unquote. Judicial review, implied in Article 3, formalized in Marbury versus Madison, 1803, lets courts strike down laws that break constitutional rules. Founders' intent. The founders rejected arbitrary rule, like British decrees and wanted a system where laws apply equally. Madison emphasized that a government of laws, not men, prevents tyranny. Relatable analogy. Think of a soccer game where even the star player gets a red card for fouls. The rule of law ensures a president can't ignore Congress or courts, and vice versa, just like a referee keeps the game fair. Checks and balances. 5. Popular sovereignty and republicanism, the people's voice. Idea. The government gets its power from the people, but it's not a free-for-all. Representatives make decisions, and structures like the Electoral College ensure thoughtful governance, not mob rule. Constitutional basis. The preamble's "We the People" declares the people as the source of authority. Articles 1 and 2 create a representative republic, with Congress and the President elected directly or indirectly. The Electoral College and Senate structure balance population differences. Founders' intent. The founders, wary of pure democracy, which could lead to rash decisions, designed a republic. In the Federalist Papers, Hamilton and Madison argued for deliberation over chaos, protecting minority rights against majority tyranny. Relatable analogy. It's like a classroom voting on a field trip, but picking a trusted student to finalize the plan. The people have a say, but elected leaders refine it to avoid bad ideas taking over. 6. Economic freedom and property rights. Keep what you earn. Idea. You should be free to work, innovate, and keep your earnings without the government unfairly taking them. Property and contracts are sacred, enabling opportunity and stability. Constitutional basis. The Contract Clause, Article 1, Section 10, protects agreements, and the Commerce Clause regulates trade fairly. The Fifth Amendment prevents government from taking property without just compensation. Founders' intent. Inspired by Locke, the founders saw property as tied to liberty. Your labor creates wealth, and the government shouldn't steal it. Hamilton championed commerce to build a strong economy, but Jefferson emphasized individual economic freedom. Relatable analogy. Imagine running a small business. Your food truck thrives because you keep your profits and sign fair contracts. The Constitution ensures the government doesn't swoop in to take your truck or rewrite your deals. 7. Adaptability with stability, a flexible but firm framework. Idea. The Constitution can evolve to meet new challenges, but only through careful, deliberate changes like updating a house without knocking it down. Constitutional basis. Article 5 allows amendments but requires supermajorities, 2/3 of Congress, 3/4 of states, ensuring broad agreement. Broad clauses like, quote, general welfare or, quote, equal protections, unquote, allow interpretation for modern issues. Founders' intent. Madison designed the amendment process to balance flexibility and stability, preventing rash challenges while allowing growth. The Bill of Rights was added in 1791. The founders knew society would change but wanted core principles to endure. Relatable analogy. It's like a smartphone's operating system. Updates fix bugs or add features, but the core system stays reliable. The Constitution adapts, ending slavery via the 13th Amendment, but doesn't collapse under fads. The overarching quote-unquote idea. The founders' big idea was a government that serves the people, not the other way around. It's a system where you're free to live your life, states handle local needs, and the federal government sticks to its lane. National issues like defense or trade, power is split to avoid a bully running the show, and changes happen slowly to keep things steady. The Constitution isn't a dusty relic. It's a living framework that protects your freedom while letting society grow, as long as it respects the original rules. Why this matters for modern governance. The founders' vision matters today because it's a guardrail against chaos or tyranny. For the average American, it means you can speak out on social media without fear, your liberty. Your state can set its own rules, like on schools or healthcare, without Washington dictating everything, federalism. No president or Congress can act like a king because courts and other branches stop them, checks and balances. You keep most of what you earn, and the government can't just take it, economic freedom. The system can fix injustices, but only with careful steps, not reckless overhauls, adaptability. The quote-unquote living aspect means the Constitution isn't stuck in 1787. It's grown to include women's suffrage, 19th Amendment, and equal protection, 14th Amendment. But the founders expected changes to follow their principles: limited power, freedom first, and broad consensus. When governance strays, federal overreach, or undermining elections, it risks breaking this balance, making it relatable. For the average person, the Constitution principles are like a family budget, limited government. Don't spend more than you're allowed. Stick to what's needed. Liberty. Everyone in the family gets to make their own choices, like picking hobbies. Federalism. Parents set the house rules, but kids decide their room's decor. Rule of law. No one skips chores, not even the parents. Popular sovereignty. The family votes on vacation plans, but trusted members finalize details. Economic freedom. You keep your allowance unless you owe the family something fair. Adaptability. You can change the budget for new needs, but everyone has to agree. This framework keeps the family, America, free, fair, and stable, just as the founders wanted. Conclusion. The quote-unquote idea of the U.S. Constitution's principles is a government that protects your freedom, stays small, shares power with states, and evolves carefully. It's about ensuring you can live your life, speak your mind, and keep what you earn, while the government plays by strict rules to avoid becoming a tyrant. The founders built a system to balance liberty and order, adaptable but rooted in their vision of a free society. For modern governments, this means prioritizing individual rights, local control, and deliberate change, principles that still guide a nation where the people, not the government, hold the power. For truth, transparency, and fairness, this is your host, Random Nerd.